Hello, wonderful dance teachers. I am so happy that you can join me for today's episode on turning performance into progress and the importance of reflection. It's going to introduce how to really help your students grow after a performance or after a competition, and I'm really excited to dig into this topic with you. It's one of my most favorites. So after every competition or performance, it's easy to get caught up in the high or the nerves or even the disappointment. But one of the most powerful things that you can do to help you and your students grow is reflection. And it's more than just looking back, it's about understanding how to move forward and what went well, what didn't, and how to take those moments and experiences and move forward to improve. So one of the things that I love to help my students do this is to ask 4 key questions. And those 4 key questions are: what was your favorite memory from this experience? What was a learning moment that you had, and how has that helped with your skill development? What was a funny moment that stood out to you? And finally, what was a growth moment or something that you learned about yourself? It can be how you handled emotions or how you grew as a person through this experience. These questions help us not only analyze what the technical side of the performance was, but also how to recognize the emotion and personal growth of the experience and what comes out of that. So reflection really allows us to transform each performance into progress. And I'm excited to dive even deeper into why this process is so important for our dancers and us as teachers. Hi, I'm Lorraine Keating, and welcome to Dance Teacher Pep Talk, where we talk about tips, tricks, and hacks to making our classes more positive and bringing joy to our students. It's easy to just think about what went wrong or really what went right. As dancers, that's kind of what we want to do. We want to analyze what went well, what went right, and move forward and fix the technical side of things, right? We have this linear vision. But honestly, what we really need to do is think back and the journey it was, the emotional part of it, yes, the technical side of it, but also how we can really set goals and move forward. So let's think about the positive moments, right? We want to reinforce those positive moments and learn from mistakes to identify areas for the improvement. So we're going to discuss how it helps our mental growth. It really does help us manage stress, right? We as dancers sometimes operate really high, and even as teachers managing our dancers who operate in stress, we go really high as well. We want to kind of regulate that and bring it down and really analyze what that looks like in the mental kind of atmosphere of being a dancer and a dance teacher. So we want to help our students manage the stress. So reflection helps that. It also helps skill development. It encourages us to really focus on the progress rather than the perfection. And that is natural for dancers, is to really focus on the perfection. And we want to help our students understand that progress isn't necessarily being perfect or being masterful at something. It is the progress, right? It's the journey. Building resilience is so necessary, and it's not about getting everything perfect, but also about learning from every experience. And so once we can teach our students that learning from an experience is just as important as being perfect and amazing on stage, they're going to be so much better off, not just as a dancer, but in life. And who knows how long a span of a dancer is going to be for each one of your students. They could be a dancer for a year, or they could be a dancer for life. You never know. And so we want to instill this idea of reflection in their minds as early as possible. It also brings them closer as a team and becomes better equipped for better people. So we're going to break down those 4 key questions and talk a little bit about them. So I love to ask these questions to my students, especially after a competition or a performance, but it works for anything. It works for practice. It works for small groups. You can do this for anything. But let's talk about why each one is so impactful. The favorite memory, this one's fun. So it helps students focus on positive moments and builds confidence. Why is that important? It celebrates what went well and it motivates future performances. Your favorite memory just is a rock to why you dance. if you don't have those positive moments, it's really hard to push forward, especially when you're hearing self-criticism and you're hearing all the corrections from your instructor and you're hearing peer feedback. It's really, really good to focus on the favorite memories, especially if you're going and traveling as a team or you're traveling anywhere or something happened. Maybe somebody gave them a compliment, and it's really good to just focus on the positive moments. So a favorite memory is a really good one. Learning moment. It's skill related. So this one is about skills. So it allows the students to identify areas of improvement or new techniques learned, right? They might have discovered a new skill in a performance or at a competition, okay? Or even leading up to those moments. What is something new that they learned? It could be a tactic that they learned. It could be a dance technique that they learned. It could be something that they watched from someone. You never know what these kids can pick up, right? That's why it's so important to model good behavior and for other students to notice that. So when you reflect, you can ask, did you notice anything happening at a competition, or did you see anything happening, right? So you can use also follow-up questions to these 4 key questions. It turns mistakes or challenges into valuable learning opportunities. So really making sure that their learning moments are actually learning moments, right? And they're skill related. This one's my favorite. It's the funny memory question. Ask them what their favorite funny memory is. And oftentimes I have no idea what their favorite memory is referring to. Like, I am so out of the blue into what they're talking about, but honestly, it is hilarious. They're usually busting up laughing at each other, and there's multiple people involved in this funny memory, and it's so great. Like, just having them share those moments together bonds them as a team, and it's a lighthearted moment, and it reminds the students not to take themselves so seriously. Laughter and fun reduces stress and keeps the passion for dance alive. It creates a bond with their teammates and peers, which is such a large part of creating a dance team and a supportive, joyful environment. So please ask this question. It could just be a random day too that you ask this question. What is a funny memory, right? Also, finally, what is a growth moment? And this has to do with their emotional and personal growth, right? Encourage students to reflect on their emotional journey, how they handled nerves or setbacks or challenges, unexpected things, quick changes, their number being switched, anything that could get them out of the mindset that they're ready to go, right? So what is something that grew you? Why is this important? It supports emotional development and encourages growth beyond the technical aspects of dance. And like I said, dancers are usually very technically focused. And so a growth moment on the emotional side really helps them to reflect and to prepare themselves better for the next time that they're set up for the situation. Without that reflection time, they could be put up against the same situation, but they don't know how to deal with it again. And then it hinders them from performing better, right? And we want to prepare our students to perform better, okay? The next thing that we want to talk about is how to incorporate reflection into our practices or our practice routine. So reflection doesn't have to happen after every single performance or competition, right? But it can become part of your daily routine or daily practice. And you don't have to, as a teacher, set aside specific time out of your class to do that. You do want to train your students how to do it, and then they can do it on their own with your prompt or your reminder. But here's how you can do it in different ways. So after every class or rehearsal, performance, or competition, right? We've kind of discussed that. Take a moment and ask yourself what went well and what could be improved. This is you talking to the student saying, hey, dancers, just take a moment or a few seconds right now before we do across the floor. What went well and what could be improved? All right, we're going to do it again. And that just helps them to reflect and to be like, okay, I'm in the mindset, let's go, right? You have to train them a little bit on how to do that, but there's an opportunity to do it really quickly in your class. Keep a journal to track your progress and feelings of each performance or class, right? You can get them little journals. You can have them get little journals, whatever, notebooks, anything, pieces of paper, note cards, sticky notes, things. You can get creative with this, but keep a journal and track their progress, okay? write down those 4 questions. You can go as deep, take as long as you want to do this. It really is up to you, okay? But it's always good, or it sometimes is good to do this and then go back and refer to it, right? See how they have grown, see some keys that they have learned on their own, and then refer them to remember what they've already learned, right? Because then they're not learning the same thing over and over. They're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that. And it's just a good thing. So journals are a great tool. Use video feedback. Oh, this is one of my favorites as well. You can analyze your own performance even when you're not competing. So you can have them videotape their practice session and then rewatch it and then analyze it. Teach them how to do that. You can also, as a teacher, film something from the beginning of the year and then film something in the present and then compare and contrast. Have them watch it and then you can see, hey guys, look at what you improved. How did we get there? And then use some follow-up questions there. So the role as teachers in encouraging reflection is to guide our students through the reflection process so we can help them identify their strength and growth areas. We want to teach them how to deal with disappointment in a constructive way. It's about creating a supportive environment where reflection becomes a tool for personal growth and development, not just self-criticism. So we want to be careful that it doesn't become judgmental or self-criticism, but that it is a positive experience, that is a positive practice. So those 4 key questions can help you foster the dialogue, and then you create the safe space for the students for their emotional experience, because sometimes kids are very shy and they don't feel comfortable sharing, but you have to create that environment for them to share. So if you're just starting out and you want to ask these 4 questions in a group setting, be careful that this isn't like your very first time and you haven't fostered that safe space yet. Maybe start with the journal one first, or maybe start with the video one first. Maybe start with the simple question, all right, everybody, we're gonna now think about what went well on that last set of across the floor activities. And then we're going to think about one thing that you can work on this next time through, and then start incorporating that so you can build up to these big group discussions so that they feel safe to share. Because you don't want them to all of a sudden feel very vulnerable right off the bat and like everybody's attacking them. Okay, they will feel vulnerable, but that's in a safe space, right? You want to create the safe space first. Provide constructive feedback that aligns with the student's reflection. So sometimes if they say, I don't ever want to do this again, you can say, so you do want to do this. So rephrase it and repeat back to them what they want to do in a positive way. So if they say, I never want to, I don't want to, if they say it in a negative perspective, always repeat it back in a positive way and help them figure out what they do want to do or what they can do, okay? The power of reflection for long-term growth. Reflection isn't just something that happens after one performance, right? Like we've kind of talked about. It's a long-term practice and it builds resilience and confidence over time. Okay, so by continuously reflecting, you're not just improving as a dancer or a teacher, you're improving as a person. So you as a teacher can also do this as well. You can go through and ask yourself these questions. What was something good that happened in class today? What can I do to improve? What was a funny moment? All of these things that you ask your students, you can also ask as a teacher in reflection to your classes. It helps you understand the bigger picture and enjoy the journey more, rather than just focusing on the outcome, right? We don't always want to place our worth in the outcome of something, but our worth is in the journey. So it can build long-term skill development rather than just a short-term, my worth is in this. It can build emotional intelligence and maturity in your students and a deeper connection with the art of dance, right? We want them to love dance. We want them to find that joy in dance, okay? It can also build a stronger and close-knit team and peer development. We want them to understand how to relate to their peers, right? If they hear what other dancers are learning during the same experience that they are having, it's so rich, it's so meaningful. And the more they can hear that from their peers, the faster they're going to be able to grow as people and be able to succeed in life. So remember, the next time you or your students are coming down from the high of a competition or performance, really take time to reflect. Ask yourself those 4 key questions and watch how much growth happens, not only to you, but also to your students. And reflection helps turn every performance into progress. And that is our goal for today, is to turn everything that we do in class into progress. We never want to stay complacent, but we always want to move forward. We always want to bring joy to our dancers. And sometimes that joy means breaking it down and going and digging deeper. So if you found this episode helpful, please be sure to subscribe. And also, for you, I've also written down some notes from this episode. So if you click the link below in the comment section, you'll be able to get the notes for free sent to your inbox. And let's keep this conversation going. I'm sure there'll be more videos for you around this topic. It's one of my favorite topics. Asking those students what they can learn from what they've already done so that moving forward, they can improve even more and have that connection and joy of dance. Thank you so much, everybody. I will see you next time. And also remember, you glow, you can do it. Your students need you. Keep it up. You're amazing. See you next time.